The situation surrounding Disney's reshoot of Snow White has become increasingly troubling, with numerous insider reports shedding light on what many are calling a complete debacle. Initially anticipated to be a fresh take on a beloved classic, the project has spiraled into chaos, particularly highlighted by the conflict between lead actresses Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Reports suggest that the two are currently not on speaking terms, which has led to a flurry of daily meetings among the production team as they scramble to manage the fallout. Recent revelations indicate that during the reshoots, Zegler was so displeased with the situation that she chose not to participate in certain scenes. This has resulted in the surprising decision to use CGI to replace her contributions. Insiders claim that stand-ins who closely resemble Zegler are being employed, with her face digitally superimposed in post-production for sequences where she interacts with the CGI dwarfs. This raises significant concerns about the authenticity of the final product, as audiences may end up seeing a CGI version of Snow White rather than a live-action portrayal. The ongoing controversy begs the question of how this beloved fairy tale has become so poorly managed. Once a hallmark of Disney's innovative storytelling, the Snow White project now seems to lean heavily toward animation and digital effects. Some fans have even remarked that the film is becoming less of a live-action adaptation and more of an animated feature, likening it to a cartoon rather than a reimagined classic. This drastic shift has led to widespread speculation and skepticism about the film's quality and its reception. Compounding the film's troubles, months prior to the reshoots, Disney CEO Bob Iger initiated a significant overhaul within the company. He began to cut ties with writers who were perceived as part of a woke agenda, a move that has been met with both support and criticism from fans and industry insiders alike. This shakeup may have played a crucial role in Zegler's apparent distancing from Disney, fueling the current tensions surrounding the project. Many believe that the backlash from fans, who are urging Disney to return to its roots and move away from the so-called woke narrative, has not gone unnoticed. As the release date approaches, Zegler and her team seem to be in a state of panic, forced to issue public apologies and backtrack on previous statements. In a bid to salvage the project, Zegler has been compelled to praise the original animated film, claiming that the goal is to recreate the magic that made it a timeless classic. However, many fans view this as disingenuous, believing that the film's direction strays far from the essence of the original. With the high stakes involved, there is a growing consensus that the movie is likely to flop, resulting in significant financial losses for Disney. Disney's recent track record has not been encouraging, with multiple projects, including She-Hulk and The Marvels, failing to meet audience expectations and box office projections. This trend raises serious concerns about the company's ability to reclaim its former glory, as it continues to face challenges in navigating the balance between creative storytelling and the pressures of public opinion. As the saga of Snow White unfolds, it remains to be seen whether Disney can turn this disaster around or if it will become another entry in a string of disappointing releases. Disney seems unable to learn from its past mistakes, and it's becoming increasingly evident with each new project that flops. Under Bob Iger's leadership, there have been firings aimed at correcting course, but recent cancellations, like The Acolyte, highlight the ongoing struggle. This shift seems to be a response to voices in the fandom, like channels such as mine and Nerdy Core, who are advocating for a return to quality storytelling. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Our discussions have covered everything from industry trends to individual projects. One glaring example of this ongoing misstep involves Peter Dinklage. After the trailer for Snow White was released, many were left wondering what they had just witnessed, particularly regarding the portrayal of the dwarfs. Dinklage, who was brought in as a consultant for the script, has been vocal about the treatment of dwarfs in Hollywood. His criticism prompted Disney to take immediate action, trying to shift the narrative and focus on the positive aspects of the dwarfs' representation in the film. However, the backlash from his comments seems to have caused a panic within the company. In a bid to avoid further criticism, Disney decided to scrap the idea of live-action dwarfs entirely, opting instead for CGI versions. This decision is emblematic of a larger issue: an actor attempting to influence a production without fully understanding the source material or its cultural significance. Dinklage's input led to a drastic alteration of a classic story, as the company abandoned traditional elements in favor of digital creations. It's worth noting that in the original tale, the dwarfs reside in a cottage and mine in a cave, but Disney's reimagining has taken a sharp turn that might not resonate with audiences. The CGI dwarfs themselves appear to be a miscalculation that will likely lead to cringeworthy moments on screen. The trailer has already raised eyebrows, showcasing a bizarre aesthetic that many viewers find jarring. Rachel Zegler's character Snow White has received considerable criticism for her questionable hairstyle, reminiscent of Lord Farquaad, which only adds to the overall absurdity of the presentation. The surrounding CGI dwarfs look out of place and awkward, creating a visual experience that feels more like a poorly executed animation than a live-action adaptation. For many fans, this disaster is enough to discourage them from watching the film in theaters. The lack of authenticity and the over-reliance on CGI have left a sour taste, leading to predictions that Snow White will be yet another box office failure for Disney. As the release date approaches, it seems increasingly clear that this project is unlikely to garner the audience it needs to succeed. The decisions made in its development appear to reflect a disconnect between the studio and its fan base, suggesting a troubling pattern that could continue to haunt Disney if they do not course correct. The box office landscape surrounding Disney's upcoming Snow White film is marred by internal conflicts and questionable decisions, particularly regarding the portrayal of the evil queen, played by Gal Gadot. Tensions seem to be brewing among the cast and crew, with ongoing drama affecting the production's morale. This situation reflects a larger issue at Disney, a disconnect between the company and its target audience. It seems that within the organization, there is a lack of clarity about who they are trying to reach with their live-action adaptations, leading to chaotic decision-making. The constant announcements and the execution of projects suggest that many at Disney are struggling to understand the essence of the stories they are attempting to retell. This disconnect is evident in the misguided attempts to modernize beloved classics, often alienating longtime fans in the process. Instead of enhancing their legacy, Disney appears to be dismantling its own brand, failing to recognize the damage being done. A notable example of this mismanagement is the decision prompted by Peter Dinklage, a little person himself, to eliminate the roles of 7 live-action dwarfs. By opting for CGI versions, Disney not only disregarded the potential for diverse representation, but also removed meaningful job opportunities for actors who could have brought depth to these characters. This choice has drawn criticism for prioritizing visual effects over authentic storytelling. Additionally, the situation with Gal Gadot highlights another layer of concern. Initially, she was promised some degree of creative control over her role as the evil queen, particularly in terms of marketing and character development. However, it seems that Disney executives may have reneged on these promises, leaving Gadot in a precarious position. The combination of these factors creates a troubling picture of a company that is struggling to find its footing while managing a fractured production. As the release date approaches, fans are left wondering if Disney can reclaim its reputation or if this latest endeavor will be yet another misstep in a series of unfortunate decisions. The promises made to Gal Gadot have been broken, and now she finds herself at odds with Disney executives amid escalating internal conflicts. Her career, which once seemed promising, has seen a significant downturn, especially following the underwhelming performance of Wonder Woman 1984 and the cancellation of another potential sequel. Gadot was assured creative control and support for her role as the evil queen in the upcoming Snow White remake, but those assurances have crumbled, leading to a direct confrontation with Disney's management. Insiders reveal that tension is brewing between Gadot and her co-star, Rachel Zegler, which is further complicating matters. Reports indicate that the marketing strategy for the film is in disarray, with multiple press engagements being canceled. The two actresses are citing scheduling conflicts, seemingly reluctant to promote the film together. If, by some miracle, Disney manages to get them to collaborate for promotional activities before the film's release in 2025, it would be surprising, given the current circumstances. It's hard to blame them for their reluctance. The film, already beleaguered by its troubled production, appears destined for disaster, largely due to Zegler's controversies. As a result, Rachel is increasingly perceived as a victim in this mess. Although she initially embraced the role of the evil queen, the negative fallout surrounding the production has left her uncertain about how to market the film effectively. Taking a step back, one might question whether this remake was necessary in the first place. Many of Disney's live-action adaptations of classic animations seem to lack a clear purpose. Snow White has long been revered, and bringing it back to life in a live-action format feels like an exercise in futility. The studio seems unable to replicate the magic of the original animated film, with changes to the story often undermining its core messages. There is an increasing sentiment among audiences that Disney's recent adaptations are attempting to conform to contemporary social norms, often at the expense of the cherished stories that many have grown up with. This shift suggests that the classic animated films are somehow inadequate or flawed, promoting a narrative that encourages fans to accept these remakes as the more enlightened, woke alternative. This new direction raises concerns about the integrity of storytelling and whether Disney truly understands the value of the originals. Gal Gadot, who initially seemed poised for success in her role as the evil queen in the upcoming Snow White remake, now finds herself entangled in the chaos surrounding the project. Her star power has diminished following a string of lackluster films, and this involvement could further complicate her career trajectory. Compounding this turmoil is Rachel Zegler, whose actions and statements appear to be jeopardizing not just her future, but also the film's potential success. Reports indicate that she has engaged in behavior that has led to significant tension on set, further intensifying the negative perception of the project. As fans watch this drama unfold, the outlook for the Snow White remake appears increasingly bleak. With a fractured cast and mounting criticism of Disney's approach to storytelling, many wonder if the studio can navigate these challenges and deliver a film that resonates with audiences. The critical question remains: will Disney's efforts to modernize these beloved tales enhance or diminish their legacy? As we await the film's release, it will be fascinating to see how this situation develops. What are your thoughts on the current state of Disney adaptations? Share your opinions in the comments below.